we are looking at a story that is quietly unraveling right in front of us, piece by piece. And it is going to take us to a very cold, unforgiving place. Trina Robinson has been pushed to the absolute brink lately. If you look closely at her recent scenes, the sheer exhaustion is practically radiating off her. She is carrying an immense, suffocating weight. Her father, Curtis, is facing serious prison time, and she is trying to balance that heartbreak with the crushing expectations of her new music contract and her upcoming premiere with Geo. She is trying so hard to keep her head above water, to focus on her art and her future, but the universe refuses to let her breathe. But there was a specific quiet moment recently that really caught my attention. It was a look of sheer, unfiltered paranoia in Trina's eyes when she was confiding in Kai. At first, it didn't seem important. We all just assumed it was the stress of her daily life boiling over. But something about that moment stayed with me. It wasn't just stress, it was pure, visceral fear. Trina is being hunted. A mysterious stalker has been leaving terrifying, subtle signs just for her, designed to make her panic without drawing public attention. I keep coming back to the way Trina completely broke down when talking to Kai. Trina is a remarkably strong, independent woman who has survived unimaginable losses. She lost Spencer, she survived Esme's torment, and she usually handles everything with incredible grace. But this invisible threat is breaking her fragile sanity. And Kai, who has grown incredibly protective of her, is absorbing all of that fear. He watches her jump at every shadow, flinch at every unexpected noise, and he is internalizing her terror, turning it into a dangerous, obsessive kind of determination. We are watching the foundation of a massive tragedy being laid out in plain sight, and the scariest part is that they think they know exactly who is behind it. Let us follow this thread for a second and look at the facts they have. Kai and Trina share a massive, dangerous secret. They know exactly what Willow Kane is capable of. They know that Willow shot Drew, paralyzing him, and actively worked to keep him locked in his own body to silence him. The more I think about it, the more I realize how easily their terrified minds could connect these dots. If Willow is willing to shoot her own husband to keep her secrets buried, what would she do to the two young people who actually know the truth? In their panicked, sleep-deprived state, the logic makes terrifying sense. They do not see a random, nameless stalker. They see a desperate, cornered Willow trying to silence them forever before they can expose her crime. You have to put yourself in their shoes to understand the gravity of this assumption. Every weird noise outside Trina's window, every misplaced item in her room, every chilling, anonymous message left on her phone suddenly has a face, and that face belongs to Willow Kane. They are not looking at the broader picture because fear gives you tunnel vision. They are just two kids who think they have stumbled into a deadly conspiracy, and they believe the walls are rapidly closing in on them. Willow is a congresswoman, a mother, a quartermain by marriage. She has everything to lose, which makes her the perfect, most logical suspect in their eyes. This brings us to the shadow beneath the story. It is not just about a stalker terrorizing a young woman. It is about Kai's hidden emotional conflict. Kai sees himself as Trina's ultimate protector. He sees her suffering, and he feels entirely responsible for fixing it. He knows that going to the police is a dead end. Anna Devane and Dante Falconeri are completely swamped with the Jen Sidwell investigation and the WSB chaos. Furthermore, Willow has power, influence, and a pristine public image. Who at the PCPD would ever believe that the sweet, philanthropic Willow Kane is a murderous stalker? Kai's hidden motivation is a desperate, misguided chivalry. He believes that if he does not step up and stop Willow himself, Trina will end up dead. Kai is transitioning from a loyal friend into a dangerous vigilante right before our eyes. He is crossing a psychological line, convincing himself that extreme, violent measures are the only option left on the table. He thinks he is stepping up to be the hero of Trina's story, completely unaware that he is actually writing the darkest, most devastating chapter of their lives. He is not sleeping. He is tracking Willow's movements. He is watching her house. He is preparing for a war that only exists in his mind. Maybe there's another layer here. What if this is the exact moment Kai makes the most catastrophic decision of his entire life? It's possible that Kai, Driven by a desperate need to end Trina's nightmare once and for all, decides that he cannot wait for Willow to strike first. I keep wondering whether Kai will take matters into his own hands, bypass the authorities completely, and actively hunt Willow down in her own home. He might wait for a night when Michael is away, wait for the perfect moment of vulnerability, and confront the woman he firmly believes is tormenting the girl he cares about. If you ask me, this violent confrontation feels almost inevitable. Picture Kai breaking into Willow's home in the dead of night, cornering her in her living room. He isn't a cold-blooded, calculated assassin. He is a terrified kid holding a weapon, demanding that she confess and leave Trina alone. Willow, who is already on edge from hiding the fugitive Jen Sidwell, dealing with Jack Brennan's blackmail, and recovering from a spiked drink given to her by Jacinda Bracken, would likely panic. She wouldn't understand what Kai is talking about regarding a stalker. In the ensuing chaos, a tragic physical struggle occurred. What if Kai actually kills Willow? Not out of malice, not out of a desire for murder, but out of a tragic, adrenaline-fueled misunderstanding. He would stand there, looking down at what he has done, dropping his weapon, truly believing he just saved Trina's life. But the tension doesn't stop there. The universe of Port Charles rarely allows a secret to stay buried for long. It doesn't seem accidental that Nina Reeves is hovering so closely around Willow lately. Nina is already completely unraveling. She just pushed Drew into a lake in a moment of sheer panic and is living on a razor's edge of regret and terror. Her maternal instincts are in overdrive. The atmosphere is thick with impending doom. Imagine Kai standing over Willow's lifeless body, frozen in absolute shock, trying to process the magnitude of his action. And in that exact horrifying moment, the front door opens. Nina walks in. The scene would be one of absolute soul-crushing devastation. Nina finding her beloved daughter lifeless on the floor, with Kai standing right there covered in the aftermath of the struggle. We all know the deep, dark history of Nina's maternal rage. She lost Nell. She lost years of Willow's life. She has fought tooth and nail to build a relationship with her daughter. She wouldn't ask Kai for an explanation. She wouldn't wait for the police to arrive and sort out the details. In a blind, uncontrollable fury, Nina's mind would snap. She would attack. She would kill Kai with whatever she could find, entirely consumed by the primal need to avenge her murdered child. The sheer brutality of that moment would echo through Port Charles for years to come. In the span of a single bloody night, multiple lives would be completely obliterated. Willow is dead, leaving behind Wiley and Amelia. Kai is dead, his life cut short by a tragic miscalculation. Nina is covered in blood, sitting amidst the ruins of her life, waiting for the sirens, knowing she is going to spend the rest of her days locked away in prison. And Trina? Trina would be left in the rubble, receiving the horrific news, losing the person who tried to protect her, while carrying the immense, unbearable guilt that Kai died because of her fear. It is a masterclass in tragic storytelling, where everyone loses everything because of a single, fatal assumption. But this is where the story gets truly terrifying. The dust settles, the bodies are buried, and Nina is locked away behind bars. Trina is sitting alone in her dark room, mourning Kai, trying to piece her shattered mind back together. The town thinks the nightmare is over. And then Trina finds another sign, another chilling message left on her pillow. Another piece of undeniable evidence that the stalker has been inside her home while she was sleeping. What if we're missing something? What if Willow was never the stalker to begin with? The realization would hit Trina like a freight train, knocking the breath out of her lungs. Willow is innocent of the harassment. The real stalker is still out there. They never lifted a finger to harm Willow or Kai. They just planted the seeds of paranoia, left the subtle clues, and sat back in the shadows to watch their targets destroy each other. It was a perfectly orchestrated, incredibly sadistic psychological game. The real monster manipulated Kai's protective nature and Trina's fear, using them as literal weapons to clear the board without ever getting their own hands dirty. I can't shake the feeling that this was the stalker's ultimate goal all along. Not just to scare Trina, but to isolate her completely and utterly. With Kai dead, Willow dead, and Nina in prison, Trina is more vulnerable and alone than she has ever been. The stalker has successfully removed her fiercest protector and created a massive, town-wide tragedy that will distract the police and her family for months. As we look at the wreckage of these destroyed lives, something feels unfinished. The true villain is still walking the streets of Port Charles, smiling in the dark, watching Trina's every move, and waiting patiently for the next horrific phase of their sick game to begin.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.